Hi everyone, my name is Lloyd Fider, and for those who don't know me, I am a licensed clinical social worker and a psychotherapist here in New York City. So, last week we learned about the deaths of two celebrities, Kate Spade and Anthony Bourdain, due to suicide. And for many people, including myself, this came as a huge surprise, and I'm really, really saddened by their passing. And both were great in their careers and have made such an impact to many people around the world, both in the fashion world, the culinary arts world, etc. And on a personal level, suicide has definitely affected me. I had a friend who committed suicide. I believe that was 2009. And last year, I had a friend who attempted to commit suicide. So, this issue, really has affected me and is very important. So today I want to dedicate this video to a discussion of suicide and share with you some information that I hope will be very helpful, even life-saving. So let me start by sharing some general statistics about suicide. And by the way, most of the information I will share to you today came from the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, the CDC, and the National Institute of Mental Health. Okay, so let me start by sharing with you some figures on a national level. So first, suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in this country. On average, there are 123 suicide deaths per day. That's per day. And suicide costs the United States around $69 billion a year. Okay, $69 billion. Now, in New York State, suicide is the 12th leading cause of death. One person dies of suicide every 5 hours. And suicide costs the state around $1.8 billion. Now, this is based on a study done in 2010. Right? Some other statistics, men are more likely to die from suicide, while women are more likely to attempt suicide. So two distinctions there, okay? American Indian and Alaska Native youth and middle-aged persons have the highest rate of suicide, followed by non-Hispanic, white, middle-aged, and older adult males. And African Americans have the lowest suicide rate, and then Hispanics have the second lowest rate. And then men are more likely to use more lethal methods, such as firearms or suffocations. And women are more likely than men to attempt suicide by poisoning. And that includes overdosing. In fact, firearms account for 51% of suicide deaths in 2016. Okay. So, you may ask, who are at risk for suicide? The fact is, it does not discriminate. It really doesn't. People from all races, ages, genders, and ethnicities are at risk. But they're what we call risk factors. Now, risk factors are characteristics or conditions that increase the chance that a person may try to take their life. So here are some of the risk factors for suicide. The first one is a prior suicide attempt, depression and other mental health disorders, substance abuse disorders, a family history of mental health and substance abuse disorder, a family history of suicide, family violence, including physical or sexual abuse, having guns or access to guns or firearms at the home, and a medical illness. And so these are just some of the risk factors. There's quite a few more. So are there any ways to tell if a person is suicidal? Yeah. But the truth is, it's very hard to predict if someone with suicidal thoughts will act on it. But there are some warning signs, and here are some of them. So someone talking about wanting to die or kill themselves, someone who is withdrawing from family and friends, so they're starting to isolate themselves. Someone talking or thinking about death a lot. Someone who's giving away their possessions. someone saying goodbye to family and friends. That's out of the ordinary. Someone who's talking about feeling trapped, and feeling that there's no way out, that there are no solutions to their problems. Or someone talking about being a burden to others. So then, what to do? What do you do if someone that you know told you that they're thinking of hurting themselves or killing themselves? First of all, don't panic, okay? Tell the person that you are concerned and care about them. And don't be afraid to ask questions. I think, especially questions like, are they considering suicide? Do they have a particular plan in mind? I think a lot of people think that if you talk about this to someone who's suicidal or are asking these questions, that it will lead them to even be more suicidal. Actually, it's not the case. These questions will not push the person towards suicide if they weren't considering it. And ask them, are they seeing a doctor, like a psychiatrist? Are they taking medication? Are they in treatment? If they're not, if they are, then maybe encourage them to contact their physician right away. Maybe even offer to help them make the appointment. And if they're not in any kind of treatment, maybe help them find some resources, a name of a therapist or psychiatrist or a doctor, and maybe even help them make the appointment. Or take them to a walk-in clinic maybe, or an emergency room at a hospital. Next one is, don't argue someone out of suicide. Okay, let them know you care, that they're not alone, because a lot of them do feel that they're alone, and that they can always get help. Okay, so don't say things like, oh, you have so much to live for, or if you kill yourself, it will hurt your family and friends. Those questions are really, or those comments are really not helpful. If it's really, really worse, call 911. We really want to make sure that the person gets the help they need. And please do not leave the person alone. Just make sure that you're there for them. Okay? Now, as a therapist, what I usually do when a client tells me they're thinking about hurting or killing themselves is asking them questions like, what thoughts are you having? Do you have a plan? Do you have a means of doing that? Whatever you're planning to do. How long have you been having the thoughts? How long have you had the thoughts? How long do they last? Is there a time of the day that you have those thoughts? Any triggers? And if there are any safety factors or things that will prevent them from acting on their suicidal thoughts. And then we come up with a safety plan. So what can they do to keep themselves safe when they're having those thoughts? Like calling a friend or a family member. We identified that name, write their phone number, or write their phone numbers. Listening to music, maybe going out for a walk, taking a bath, something relaxing, something that's also that can distract themselves in a good way. But if you are the one having those thoughts of hurting or killing yourself, please remember that you are not alone, and that there's always help available. And it's okay to ask for help. It really is. Remember that there's always someone available to help, that you're not alone. Call 911 if it's really, really bad. Call someone you trust. Go to your nearest hospital, ER, or call the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. That's 800-273-8255. Again, that's 800-273-8255. And I will post this number and other resources after this video. So I hope you all found this information very helpful. Suicide is such a major health problem in this country, but remember that something can be done. And always remember that there's always help. So please remember, that people care about you. There are resources out there, and we can fight this problem. All right. So anyway, once again, my name is Lloyd, your therapist, and I hope that you all have a great mental health day. Bye for now.